Hello, I am the Obscure Jackal, and welcome to Winds of Change. Now, this game is kind of special to me, as I actually help support it on Patreon. It's a visual novel type game, lots of very difficult, morally ambiguous decisions to make in it. Uh, Very deep story, very deep characters. I will admit that I never quite finished the whole game, but that's okay, because that means I can take you all along on the journey with me. And don't forget, if you enjoy what you see, hit that thumbs up below the video. Be sure to subscribe to catch all the content I'll be putting out. With that said, let's get started. Enjoy your adventure and choose wisely. In the world of Alessia, where the spirits reign supreme.
The rebellion is in shambles. With the recent loss of their leader, they are struggling. But this defeat was not without a victory of its own. For in his final moments, he secured an artifact of great importance. This blade was paramount to the Triumvirate's leadership of Alestia. And without it, their tyrannical grip on the people would surely falter. Having no choice, they give their Grand Inquisitor one simple order. Destroy the rebellion and retrieve the lost blade of the Triumvirate. But Dormek, the new leader of the rebels, has set other plans in motion. Hiding the blade in Valenoth, he is confident that it will be protected. This sheltered hamlet is now custodian to the weapon that would liberate the world. And so, it would be met with a gruesome fate by the Triumvirate and their Grand Inquisitor.
Everything is burning. I can do little to stop it from spreading. An immense pain assaults my head, and I throw my face into my hands. The same question repeatedly plays in my mind. What am I doing here? I have no knowledge of what happened up until this point. My brain is struggling to fill in the blanks, not gaining any headway. It was almost like until this exact moment I never existed. Then why is it now that cognition has found me? Was there something I could do to put out these flames? Or perhaps was I the cause of this inferno to begin with? A foolish thought and one I throw away. If I was responsible, then I wouldn't feel this sense of dread. An emotion shared by those who stand beside me.
Come on, pick up the pace. If we waste any more time, we won't make it out alive. There's no way the Elder would let me live that one down.
I feel like she's escorting me, and I should follow her. Could it be that she's been taxed with my protection? I grasp at the straws that are in the memories in my head. I'm only able to latch onto one. It's the title that I go by.
Are you even paying attention?
I am the Cirrus.
What? I know who you are, Cirrus. Did you hit your head or something?
It would appear so. She scoffs as she turns the other way. But I know she's right. I'm not taking this seriously. It feels like a dream, and I doubt that it's all happening. A few moments later, a sudden sensation startles me. There's a firm grip on my shoulder. We aren't alone. Underneath a veil of fright, I turn to greet this second stranger.
Melissa has our safety in mind, okay? Forgive her hot-headedness for me. Freedom isn't too much farther. We need to stay calm and think this through. Two girls like you, I'm sure you can come up with something. We'll be safe and sound before you know it.
We weave through the houses and alleys to remain unseen. Doing our best to be completely silent, we bring no attention to ourselves. The flames encourage our urgency, but we're careful not to be too fast or reckless. Our silence makes everything else more prominent, however. The screams of those being slaughtered fill me with a feeling of disgust. We need to find cover, and Valessa points out a small alcove waiting nearby.
Look, they're dying because they panicked. We need to stay calm and think through this together. If we freak out, we'll only end up like them, no?
She has a point. Our first instinct was to run, but so was theirs. We should let them face the brunt of this attack.
First decision time. Well, apart from gender, of course. Which, I would say this isn't the most morally ambiguous question. I know I said there was going to be some of those. This is not one. I mean, it does suck that we're letting these people die, but it's less letting them die and more not being able to do anything about it in this case. For now, we'll go with the neutral. There has to be another way to do this.
I agree, Ulrich. We can't sacrifice everyone to buy time. I think the people of Valinor deserve far better.
Would you rather perish with them, Valessa? That's what'll happen if you go running out there. We're not equipped to handle this on our own.
He makes a valid point.
You have to remember what I'm doing here. It's my job to protect the both of you. Everyone else is expendable.
My suspicions are correct. Ulrich is the one protecting us. But why exactly are we a higher priority than civilians? I venture a guess that we're currently in this Valinorth. The pain in my head pulses again and I stumble back. As I let out a groan, Ulrich rushes over to my side. His exaggerated concern is now understandable.
It must be the smoke. Make sure to sit down. The lower you are right now, the better. Are you having trouble breathing?
I shake my head and let him know that it's not the smoke. This causes Valessa to chime in, voicing her concerns as well.
Yeah, something else is going on here. She's been acting strange for a while now. Is there something you need to tell us?
I can't seem to remember anything.
Did some debris fall on your head back there? I'm starting to side with Valessa on this one. Come on, time to gear you up.
He steps away for a few moments and inspects the ground around him. There's a brief period where I can't see him, but he returns with a blade. And the fire causes it to glisten, almost like it's begging me to take it.
I don't care what's going on in that head of yours, but it's not more important than your survival. We're all overwhelmed. It's not just you.
He holds out the blade, expecting my compliance. At this rate, it seems like fighting may be inevitable.
Take it. We won't be standing here forever.
I will
as soon as we leave this alcove, we'll be vulnerable. I can't take care of you all the time, you know.
Of course, I will defend myself as well.
Now that's what I like to hear. I'll feel better if you have something to fight with. Valessa has her daggers, but you had nothing.
I grab the blade and swing it a couple of times, testing its weight. It seems good enough for me, and I wouldn't have any problems using it. It was a far cry from the massive blade that Ulrich carried.
Now then, it's time to move. It seems like some of the noise has finally died down. We should start by investigating the town square.
He walks off, expecting us to follow along. But as I'm about to take a step, Valessa grabs my arm. The look on her face tells me something is wrong.
You're confused about all this, right? I bet you don't even know what being the Cirrus means. Or how we've known each other our entire lives.
I look at the ground in both shame and confusion. She's completely right. My head is a mess. As I try to think of an excuse, her response surprises me.
That's normal, but please listen. We only have a few moments before Ulrich notices we're not there. The Cirrus is special. You wield spirits to induce prophetic visions. When you have these visions, you're unable to remember anything. When you wake up, you'll dismiss it as a dream and forget it ever happened. As your scribe, it's my job to help you take advantage of this. We have to follow Ulrich now, but know one thing. The way you're acting, I'm certain this is a vision. That means you can use it for information.
So yes, this is a dream right now. She takes a few steps closer to me and grabs my hands. Staring right in my eyes, I notice a glimmer of hope shining within her.
I'm relieved. This means Valinor is still fine. When you wake up, Use this vision to save everyone. It's your duty as Cirrus to ensure this doesn't become real.
She lets go of my hands and follows after Ulrich. Though it's hard to believe what she said, and I'm less confused, I finally had a reason for why I felt so disconnected. But if this was a vision, then what would become of Ulrich and Valessa? Would all of this carnage be undone as soon as I woke up? What if they died, or what if I died in this vision? I follow after Valessa, realizing I might never know. But a faint sense of determination rises up within me. If there was a chance I could stop this, I had to do it. In the present day, the Triumvirate conspires with the Grand Inquisitor, for the events that led to Valinor's destruction had yet to be set in motion. Sovi knelt before his masters, more eager to serve than he had ever been before.
Rise, Sophie, but please assure us of your certainty. We hate to act without knowing everything.
The prisoner mentions Valinorth over and over. The rebels are hiding something of importance there. Along with recent events, we can only surmise one thing.
The blade of Exodus.
I am almost certain. But if that's where they've chosen to hide it, it means that our other target is also there.
Your compliance pleases us, Sophie. Your plan was risky, but it worked out in the end. A final interrogation would influence our decision further.
You'd have me interrogate the prisoner once more. If I may be so bold, to what end do you request this?
Not you, Sophie. We want your apprentice to do this. It is time for him to prove his worth.
Their voices echoed loudly through their darkened chambers. It mattered not which triumvir spoke, for they were all of one mind. With a clear irritation in his voice, Sovi did his best to stay calm.
My apprentice? I've told you many times I want to work alone. It would be more efficient for me to do this myself.
Insubordination? This is unbecoming of you, Sophie. We demand that you obey. The role of Grand Inquisitor can be very dangerous. If we were to lose you, a replacement would be necessary. You must train this replacement while you still breathe.
As you command.
Sovi turned his back to the triumvirate and spotted his apprentice. He was standing by the door, listening to their conversation. If he'd heard of Sovi's distaste for him, he showed no concern.
Interrogation? And what would you have me extract? I thought the prisoner was at his wit's end.
Anything to confirm our suspicions about Valinorth. If you fail, I will not hesitate to punish you. Remember what we're on the verge of.
I understand, Master. I'll do my best to get you what you need. What are the limits when it comes to my approach?
Keep him alive, Halem. I find that psychological pain is the most valid approach. He cares more for his rebel allies than he does for himself.
Then I will threaten the rebellion's very core. I'm grateful to have this opportunity, Master. Things are starting to line up well for me.
They tend to do that when you have the Triumvirate's blessing. We should take care of this immediately and catch them unprepared. Every moment we waste is a moment they gain, Halem.
They leave the room together, talking amongst themselves. The triumvirate waits until they're gone before speaking. A faint smile on their faces as age-old plans come to fruition.
So it's finally going to happen, isn't it? What we've been waiting for all these years. Do you think we should tell Sophie our true plan?
Mysterious. and they remained that way for quite a while. Halen entered the prison cell without Sovi at his side. His master remained outside as a pseudo-display of trust, but it was evident to Halen that no trust existed. The prisoner looked up, surprised to see a different face. Yet within him was still a slowly dwindling hope. Cut off from the rebellion, these would be his final days.
So, someone different has finally come. What are you, the executioner or something? I figured it was only a matter of time.
Actually, Sovi said to keep you alive. You seem to underestimate your value, Shane.
You think I'm important? That's not what I expected to hear.
Don't take it the wrong way. You must not know what I meant.
He knelt down in front of the prisoner. With a sinister smirk, he tried to intimidate Shane.
You're important as a bargaining chip. And the fact I must keep you alive is a curse. When I'm through with you, you'll beg for death. You see, I'm different from Sovi. He's past the bar. They no longer need to test him. But I'm in the position where results must happen. When we give you back, you'll be a broken man. And soon after, the foundation of the rebellion will crumble. You think we don't know that Damek is your leader?
What?
Shane's eyes shot wide open in utter shock. It seems that Halen's threats worked to great effect.
You'd be stupid not to think we have inside men. I could order Damek's execution in a matter of seconds. You don't value your life, but you value his. Good. Now, I expect you to answer my questions. The Blade of Exodus, is it in Valinor Village? And the one who can wield it, do they live there as well?
Not a good person. Back to the vision. By the time we catch up with Ulrich, it's already too late. His large blade is in deadlock with one of the enemy soldiers. Valessa draws her daggers, and I hold out my sword, ready.
We order you to cease your resistance! Those who support the rebellion must perish!
To break the deadlock, Ulrich kicks his opponent in the gut. They stumble back and ready their blade with a flourish. It isn't much longer until they charge toward him again.
Melissa, your dagger!
Ulrich jumps out of the way and rolls toward us. Landing on his knees, he pries one of the daggers from her grip. Without even looking, he throws it behind himself. He closes his eyes and looks down at the ground. When he hears the impact of the dagger, his ears fold back. For a moment, it looks like he's actually sad.
Spirits, please forgive my misdeeds. I acted only to protect those under my watch.
Ulrich cares about the spirits? For some reason, I didn't expect that. But before I can think about this further, something happens. Catching Valessa and I off guard, we're in complete disbelief.
Huh?
He notices the shocked expression on both of our faces. Rising to his feet, it's not long before he wears the same look. The enemy soldier fell as expected, but there was nothing inside. Scattered pieces of armor litter the ground. As we process this revelation, confusion soon assails us. This was no ordinary attack. What we just saw was impossible.
What's going on? Ulrich, what are those things?
I don't know. Come closer, you two. This doesn't feel right. Empty suits of armor with a hatred for the rebellion.
Only those who've mastered the spirits could do this. I'm afraid this is much larger than we thought.
That can't be true. The spirits are pure. They aid us.
Yeah, sure looks like they wanted to help. It's not my only concern, though. Look at this.
She scoffs as she steps toward the helmet. Kneeling down, she pulls her dagger out of it.
Do you recognize these colors, Ulrich?
No, why would I?
Gold and white. The triumvirate standard. I would have never made such a deduction, but only they could wield the spirits in this fashion.
What is the triumvirate?
Our supposed protectors. Some even the creators of Celestia. I have no idea why they'd want to do this to us.
Wouldn't be the first time they attempted occupation. They hinted that the rebellion was involved here. Valessa, do you know anything about that?
I don't. So much has changed lately. With our last elder gone, Miles has been in charge. Maybe he has something to tell us.
It's worth a shot. We should see if he's alive. Protecting you is my goal, but now I want answers. If anyone knows about this, it would be him.
To the Elder's house, then.
Yeah.
I follow after Valessa and Ulrich. We walk along the circular road surrounding the water tank. I make note of it for later. It might help us put out the flames. More suits of armor litter the ground. There's so many of them. It makes me feel a bit hopeful, like we stood a chance. The village wasn't defenseless, and this was proof.
Aren't you glad we waited now? If we rushed in head first, we'd be dead.
Then where are the villagers' bodies? I only see the suits of armor lying around.
That was a good question, actually. No blood, no signs of a major struggle. Only the fire and the glistening of the white armor.
That's a good sign. Then they won and fled to safety. Are there any havens in Valenorth?
That doesn't make sense, because earlier it did say that we heard screams.
I'd say the Elder's house and the Grand Tree. The fire may not have reached either yet.
Wait. How many people can fit in the Grand Tree?
Hundreds, easily.
Not as good of a sign as I thought. The enemy could be trying to round everyone up. Put them all in one place before killing them.
That's dirty.
But it works. We still don't know what they're after. It can't be genocide. It must be something else. Does Valenorth have anything the Triumvirate would want? Did the change in leadership bring anything with it?
Like I said, we'd have to talk to Milos. But I doubt he'd be at the Grand Tree.
They look at each other, and then look at me. I could tell that Valessa was pushing us toward Milos. But that's because she knew this was a vision.
But what if there are people in the Grand Tree? Is Milos more important than all of them? It would be cold to let everyone die.
Ulrich, this is larger than Valenorth. Especially if it involves the rebellion. Information could save entire villages.
I don't like what you're suggesting.
Like it's any better than what you suggested? Using the people as pawns to buy us time? How is this any different?
They fume at each other, but realize it's a stupid argument. In the midst of this battle, nothing was so black and white. Though I find it odd that Ulrich switched viewpoints so fast.
This is a matter of Valenor's future. Such things are under the jurisdiction of the Cirrus. I stand by her side, and you stand by both of ours. That is, unless you want to abandon your job. But that wouldn't look good on perfect record.
I guess you can fight dirty too. I don't like this, but you have me by the throat. I can only hope that you make the right choice.
He stares at me with a serious look on his face. Talk about putting me on the spot, but if this was my role, I had to fill the shoes.
What are we going to do?
Now, I'm going to use the fact that we know this is a vision. We're going for information. Because information is important. I vowed to stop this attack, and I needed information. If anybody could give us that information, it would be Milos. He'd be able to shed light on the rebellion's involvement, too.
Good. We're on the same page. We can use that information to help others. It would be selfish to focus only on Valenorth.
I hope you two are certain about this. You're gambling with hundreds of lives.
Ulrich didn't understand this like we did, and we weren't about to waste time lecturing him. I was grateful that his job required following us. We continued in the same direction, heading to Milos' house. It didn't feel good to abandon others, but we had to do it. This was real. I'd use the future to cheat the present. In the present day, Damek found himself lost in thought. If you remember, he is the leader of the rebellion. Using the tunnels under Mazeo for solitude, he found peace. There was much to plan, but for once, they had the upper hand.
Valinor, the Blade of Exodus. There must be something the spirits aren't telling us. Something we could use to take down the Triumvirate. When I touched the blade, I saw our victory, but I'm not trained to interpret such things. I pray for the cooperation of Valinor.
One of his advisors approaches, careful not to startle him. When he realizes he's detected, he lets out a soft yawn.
Another one of those sleepless nights, Damek? I can't blame you. It's been the same with me. Did I hear you say something about Valinor?
Oh look, it's Ulrich.
Yeah, I was thinking out loud. In Valinor, there's a person who can peer into the future. That's why I had Pro bring the blade there last week.
I'm aware of their culture, but their seers use spirits, not a blade. Do you think it will be that easy?
Worth the gamble, isn't it? It's not my place to wield knowledge of the future. But the seers are experts, conditioned from birth. Pro has sent word that the current seer is female. His investigation is progressing slower than I'd like. We need to pick up the pace, and fast. Now that they have the blade, they're a target. The Triumvirate is likely planning their attack as we speak. That's why I've decided to send an experienced fighter.
I guess that's me.
I've had the Mayor of Mazio write up a decree. It will allow you entry and the ability to complete what Pro started. On paper, and to everyone else, it's a simple export. Only Milas knows the importance of this blade. All you have to do is deliver it from Valinor back to me. That is, with the Seeress at your side, Ulrich.
You seem to think that will be easy. It's not likely they know the truth of Valinor. I can bring the Seeress, but they'll just decline.
Present yourself as a mercenary, not a rebel. Tell them a meeting of importance is happening in Mazio. We want their ability to help with some important decisions.
Dishonesty. Great way to start a partnership.
It worked for us, don't you remember? Look at how invaluable you've become.
Ulrich laughed and turned to look at the dark depths of the tunnel. At the moment, everything ahead seemed bleak and uncertain. Having an ally cast light on that future would be a tremendous boon.
So this is it, isn't it? With the CRS at our side that can direct us, we can secure the victory that you witnessed.
I almost don't believe it, but it's true. Though I have to be honest with you, Ulrich. There's a reason why I'm sending you instead of asking Pro.
And what's that?
He may not be strong enough to face what's coming. It's not just a hunch that Valinor will be attacked. In our victory, I saw its death and destruction.
So that is effectively two visions of Valinor being destroyed. It makes you wonder if it's possible to avoid that.
I see.
So I ask that you protect the Seeress and her allies at all costs. And when you come across Pro, have him join you as well. I'll make sure to
I'll leave first thing in the morning. What did you see exactly?
Nothing you can't fight your way out of, but trust me, it will show them the truth. And when you get back, they'll be ready to fight. But promise me one thing, and one thing only. That along the way the Seeress touches the blade. If she can wield it, then we have our greatest weapon.
And we're back to the vision. We enter Milas's house and immediately spread out. After a few moments, it's evident that nobody is here. Ulrich sighs, but Valessa isn't ready to give up.
I don't know what you expected. You think the Elder would just stay here? I assume he's at the Grand Tree as well.
No, there has to be something here. It's not him, but his books as well. He must have some kind of record.
Record of what exactly?
Ulrich, the Triumvirate is burning down Valinor. They seem to think we're caught up with the rebels. Thinking the Elder is clueless? That's stupid.
She walks over to the large window and looks outside. We're all relieved that the flames haven't reached us yet. Looking through some papers, she whispers to herself.
Come on, Milas, give us something. You're smarter than this, I know it. Shipping manifests anything.
With a renewed determination, Ulrich examines the large table. He shuffles papers aside and flips through the books. It's almost like he's in a rush to find something first.
None of this is helping, Valessa. It's everything you'd expect to find.
Oh, there has to be something here. Come on, Sirius, give us a hand.
It is optional, but highly recommended that you talk to your comrades. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. Find anything useful,
I
Valessa?
wish. This whole place is a mess. Honestly, I don't even know what to look for. Milas isn't stupid, though. He'd leave something.
How long has he been elder?
Honestly, only a few months. He was thrust into the position against his will. Something happened to his father, the previous elder. But he's done such a good job, it's crazy. The leadership of Valinor did not skip a beat. He must have been training under his father. Nobody knows, actually. He went on a trip to Mazzio and never came back. Search parties came up with nothing. It's like he vanished. Normally we'd hold an election, but things were crazy. That and Valinor is really big on family and tradition. Everyone just seemed to expect that Milos would take over.
You seem to think highly of him.
He's performed admirably for the position he's in. I doubt even a full election would find a better candidate. I was scared for a while, but he really filled the role. He didn't want to do it, but he kind of had to. It all happened so fast. I'm not sure of the specifics. But it was seamless. You almost couldn't notice.
Considering everything, life definitely puts you in some crazy situations.
I agree, but I feel a bit sorry for him. You can see it in his eyes. It stresses him out. Maybe we can find someone more willing, you know? But we can worry about that after this is over. There's lots to do, and we can't even find him. I really hope that nothing bad has happened.
And what if he is helping the rebellion?
I'd want to get to the bottom of it then. There's more going on than we can take at face value. He'd have his reasons, and I'd want to hear all of them.
You'd sure have a lot of explaining to do.
And it's something I'd happily listen to. That is, after we find a way to prevent this. I'm not passing judgment until I hear more. We can't condemn him based on a vision like this. That's like hating someone for what they do in a dream. Besides, we have no way of confirming this is his fault.
That's fair. Are you sure this is a vision?
I'm making a pretty educated guess. I'm trained to detect this kind of stuff. But it's so weird because this feels like reality. What's going to happen to me? I mean, technically, I'm not real, right? That's hard to take in. This feels real to me.
That's a little bit trippy.
But the way you're acting, yeah, it makes me certain. It's very rare that I become lucid in a vision. But with the evidence at hand, I'm very sure. Better not talk about it too loud, though. I don't want Ulrich to realize something is up. The rules state that only you and I can know.
Interesting.
There's entire books written on the subject, you know. But no one must know when they're in a vision. It could screw up what the spirits want to show us.
And what about you?
These are gifts. Blessings, directly from the realm of spirits. We're not in any position to harm what they give us.
Why do they give
Nobody
visions?
knows, but we assume it's to protect us. If we know it's coming, we can change what happens. Seers have done it time and time again for thousands of years. A lot of people think they'll want something in exchange. That they're planting seeds to reap later down the line. Stupid superstition if you ask me. They just want to help.
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know for
agree.
sure.
There's nothing more pure than the spirits. Without the visions, we'd have died out ages ago.
We've known each other our whole
Yeah,
lives?
it's just like I said. For better or worse. I was trained to be your scribe from a young age. We've been inseparable ever since. It's not exactly what I grew up wanting, but I'm not in a position to shun Valinor's tradition. Besides, I could think of people much worse to serve.
Scribe's duties are basically take down what happened in a vision and pass on pertinent information. Are you the only one?
Yes and no. Actually, it's pretty technical. I'm your only scribe, but there's also a scribe in training. His name is Fortin, and he's prepared to take over if needed. It's a recent addition to the ranks, but it helps out a lot. Without a scribe, your abilities would be pretty useless. Having someone fully trained means no one misses a beat. Imagine if you had this vision while I was gone. Just from that, I think you can gauge Fortin's importance. He's a nice guy too, but I'm sure he's long since fled. I'm sure you'll meet him when you get out of here. He tends to knock on your door first thing in the morning. So, let's focus on the matter at hand, alright?
Fair enough. Already established that. Forced to do it? Not really. Now let's talk to Ulrich. Mr. Rebellion Man. Let's see, where did he come from?
You mean today, or in general? Oh,
Attack on Velanorth.
I'm a mercenary from Azeo. I was actually hired to come bring you back there. A summit is happening and they want your input.
That is the story that was given. My input or my power?
Look, I don't ask for specifics. I do this to get paid and make a living. If you want, feel free to ask them when we get there.
Dang. Even in the dream, he's holding to the part.
And that is, if you two even agree to follow me. But right now, I can't let you die on my watch. We will discuss the rest once we're out of harm's way.
Timing seems awfully convenient.
Is that an accusation of some kind? Where I come from, you don't accuse the guy with the bigger sword. I'll pretend I didn't hear that and carry on with his search.
I just wanted to hear that. Alright, that's... I'm not gonna worry about the rest of that. It's not really important right now. So let's look at the bookshelf. I walk over to the bookshelf and see what I can find. It seems to be full of books about the spirit realm and Valinorth. Somehow, I don't think either of these subjects will help. Eventually, I come across a book about the rebellion. I doubt it's what we need, but I decide to take a look. As I open it up, a piece of paper falls out.
Milus's note. Recently, the Rebel Alliance has reached out to me. At first, I pushed them away, thinking them little more than a rogue group of bandits. But they said they knew the truth about my father. How could they know? In my situation, it was hard to resist temptation. I had to ask them exactly what they knew. The truth shocked me, and I have yet to tell anybody. I might take it to my grave. It's not the truth I expected, but it did shake me to my core. My father was in the middle of an important task. As his son, I felt that it was my duty to help finish it. I have no hatred for the Triumvirate. This is simply a matter of familial ties. Were anybody posed with such a situation, I doubt their actions would differ from mine. It doesn't seem too difficult either. They've given me a blade and tasked me with protecting it. In the next little while, they will send an envoy to pick it up. At that point, I am to send someone special with them. I must keep their name secret so nobody finds out. This envoy, however, will be coming any day. I can't wait to meet him. I've been told that he knew my father, and he would have all manner of stories to tell.
Interesting. Yes, I will continue the story. There's a couple of other things I could read here, but again, they're not particularly important. This is it. This is what we needed. I call over Ulrich and Valessa, showing them what I found. Ulrich seems tensed up and even a little anxious.
So Milas was working with the rebellion. Apparently, he was sheltering Blade. Could that be why they attacked us?
Seems likely.
Doing all this for a blade? Let's be realistic, Valessa.
It must have been very important. I'm assuming Milas took it with him. don't see any blades lying around here. But about this envoy you mentioned, and this supposed special person. Ulrich, why did you lie to us?
It's true, anybody would have figured it out by now. He seems to admit defeat and closes his eyes, almost like he didn't want to see us as he spoke.
We didn't think you'd come if you knew. I tried to hide it, but I guess there's no point anymore. After seeing this attack, I need to request your help. This is far from the first village they'll raise. They're up to something much bigger. That's why you wanted to come here, right?
Yeah, you're right. There's little time to argue and nowhere else to go. It looks like you got what you needed, Ulrich. Let's head back to the Grand Tree. There might still be time.
Maybe. We all nod, acknowledging an unspoken truth. Ulrich didn't care about those in the Grand Tree. He only knew that coming here would blow his cover. But I know that this information would be a huge advantage. We had a probable cause for their attack and knew Milos' secret. We head back to the town square, instilled with hope. The flames have spread, but it's not too bad. I need to make sure I don't inhale too much smoke. As we take slow, cautious steps, my mind is conflicted. There's one thing I can't seem to get off my mind. This blade, or whatever, was it worth all of this? Destroying an entire culture over something so simple?
Sorry, I can't see all that well. You two will have to lead the way. I'm not as familiar with the surroundings.
We crouch and make our way through Valenorth. I have a rising urge to cough, but I try and hold it back. We wouldn't want to make it this far and get caught. The water tank is cracking and leaking its contents. A small stream trickles down through the village. This would be our best tool to hinder the flames.
This isn't right. Not at all. Where is everyone, Ulrich? There's not a single body.
Like I said, they could be at the Grand Tree. It's isolated and far away from here. I'm willing to bet the flames won't reach it.
It doesn't make any sense, though. Think about it for a second. In that alcove, we heard screams.
As I mentioned earlier.
The people of Valenorth were dying. Not only burning, but getting attacked. There should be bodies all over the place.
She was right, and it bothered me as well. The current scene didn't match what we heard. Was it possible for visions to warp this way?
What are you suggesting, Valessa? Do you think they stole the bodies?
If they did, there'd be blood. There's nothing, not even a trace. Doesn't make any sense, Ulrich.
Let's say you're right, for argument's sake. Why is it more important than going to the Grand Tree? Talking about it only seems to be wasting time.
Also a fair point.
There might not be anybody at the Grand Tree. I don't think we know where we're up against. We should cut our losses and run, Ulrich.
It's an interesting, change of opinion.
You need to make up your mind, Valessa. Running back and forth will get us all killed. Are we going to the Grand Tree or not?
It's true, she was changing her mind far too fast. At the moment, she seems to value our survival. Could she be starting to doubt that this is a vision? All I had to go on was her word. I only believed her because it made sense at the time. How could I gather information if we leave Valenorth?
If you want to leave, we're going to Peregrino. It'll be the first place for survivors to flee. If Milos is there, he can tell us all about this attack.
It's a good enough plan of action, and we nod to one another. But as we continue to move, everything changes. A laugh from atop the water tank. I would say that's more than almost maniacal.
Such loyalty to the man who condemned you all. If you want to know where Milos is, I'd love to show you. I can even reunite you with the rest of the villagers.
Oh hey, we know that voice. We stop in our tracks and look up at the water tank. A silhouette of a man stands there, gripping a large blade. It's white and gold, with majesty embellished by the flames. It reminds me of the suits of armor we fought earlier. I have no doubt that there was some sort of relation. We must be looking at the man responsible for this. He jumps down from the water tank and lands with a roll. I take a few steps back, ensuring that Ulrich remains in the front. If his job was our protection, now is the time to shine through.
What a pitiful little village. It's no fun when they don't put up a fight. Did you know what they did in their final moments? They called out to you, Cirrus. They wanted your help, and you let them down. I guess the stories I heard about you were wrong.
Sylvie, you already have the blade. Let us leave. We can resolve this peacefully.
No survivors. Don't you remember the rule? Like a garden, we have to pluck all the weeds.
Is that all these people are to you? Sylvie, they have a culture and history.
Yes, but it's not theirs that I'm interested in. In fact, I'm only here to claim the Cirrus' soul. Everything else was just for fun, for sport.
This becomes personal, as they seem to know each other. They both worked for opposing forces. I'm sure they've fought before. It sickens me that he likens killing the villagers to sport.
You don't mean...
My orders had nothing to do with burning down this village. I wasn't supposed to kill anyone unless I had to, either. But you know, my apprentice isn't very fun to train with.
Disgusting. Valessa, take the Cirrus and run. I'll catch up with you at Peregrino.
Ulrich pulls out his blade and assumes a fighting stance. Sophie does the same, and their eyes meet in deadlock. I look at Valessa and we nod before starting to run. Unfortunately, we don't make it very far. We hear Ulrich scream and turn back to look. Sophie smirks at us, his blade deep in Ulrich's abdomen.
Where do you think you're going, you two? It would be rude to leave before I'm done with you. Watch, and you'll see why you can never win.
With a grin on his face, he twists the blade inside Ulrich. Defying all possibility, the gear on the base starts to spin. Soon after, everything is engulfed in a blinding white light.
Please, run.
We hear Ulrich's final words as the light subsides. When everything is back to normal, he's completely gone. No blood, no body. Just Sophie standing there with pride.
What? What did you do?
I put his spirit to good use. Like I planned to do with your little friend.
He points behind us, and we turn to look. The scattered pieces of armor on the ground start to move. They assemble, forming bodies that move in a slow, stiff fashion. But after a few moments, the movements become more natural. It isn't much longer until an army of automatons blocks our path. There was nowhere to go. Sophie blocked the other side.
You're using the spirits to power that armor. Does that mean we've been fighting our own?
Now you finally understand. The force of life itself based the triumvirate. There's no way that you could hope to stop us.
He takes slow steps toward me, holding out his blade. I finally understood why it was so important to the triumvirate. They could command an army of spirits simply by possessing it.
As soon as I harvest the Cirrus' soul, I'll leave. Valessa, if you behave, I might let you go. Visit the rebels. Tell them what's coming.
This is it. If he attacked me, the vision would end. I was armed with all the information I needed to counter this attack. The true purpose, the major players, and even the nature of the blade. He was so certain of his victory, he had no idea. I took a step forward, embracing what was to come. When this future came to Valinor, we would be ready. He thrusts the blade inside of me with little effort. The pain is so intense, but I am overcome with hope. As my vision fades, I find the strength to say one final thing. You've already lost. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode of Winds of Change. Again, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, and to keep up all of my content, consider subscribing. Until next time, this is the Obscure Jackal, signing out.